right, so we talked about the drivers and causes or drivers of click-through rate, and relevancy was one of them. So let's go down to relevancy and let's discuss relevancy. Now, we talked a little bit about this, but let's go ahead and, I don't know if I need to do it this way. What are some of the things that would indicate relevancy? Now, I've talked about it, but I want you guys to participate. So I'm going to be going back and forth. What would indicate to me that the keyword is relevant to my product? I'll start you off with the first one. X competitors are ranked well. That's the number one thing that's going to let you know that this keyword is pretty relevant. The more diverse the search results are, the less relevant that keyword will be for you. I hope that that makes sense. All right. And that is exactly one of the things it leads to. So, lower relevancy equals lower conversion rate, usually. Well, click-through rate and conversion rate. So we can stop there. Now, visual content. What makes good visual content? Yeah, so Brooke, exactly what we're going to talk about is in SQP, you should be able to compare to the market on specific keywords in search query performance. And your PPC is a good indicator. Typically, ads will perform lower than organic. So a blend is good there if you do have decent organic already. But if your ads are performing better, then it's an all go. Like you're good to go usually. We're going to get to some of those decision trees in a little bit, though. So what makes great visual content that would increase conversion rate or click-through rate or conversion rate? So describe the product. Okay. Well, I don't know that you can describe, but what we can talk about, I guess, is accurately show the product. How about the size of the product? Should be large, should be accurate. What else? Oh, good size ratio. Good one, Alan. Yeah, exactly. So size and color. Calls out any emotional triggers and features. I like that. That's excellent. So emotional triggers and features can also be a lifestyle image can do that, right? So maybe lifestyle. So one concept per image. We're going to talk about the main image right now, Araya. Stands out from competitors. This is a dangerous one, Nick, because if it stands out too much, you can actually have a negative effect because you want it to make sure that it's what people want. If you have a lot of people ranking well for a specific design on a keyword, it could mean that the majority of people searching that keyword want that design. So by standing out with something different, as far as the design goes, and we'll get to design, you might actually hurt yourself. But from an image standpoint, doing something different could be better if you can show quality. So let's discuss psychologically, quality is apparent. So product material details are super important. So people are very funny. If just psychologically, if you can see the details on the material type, we will psychologically, just subconsciously, think that that's a higher quality product than one that is a little bit further away with less resolution. Keyword on the main image is a great one, Abdullah, and the way to do that is through packaging. Packaging. Can, should contain the main keyword. If I'm looking for a product or someone is psychologically, like you think about like what are these psychological triggers, searching for a product, and on the main image you have your packaging and it has the keyword that they searched for, the main keyword of the product. That's going to be a strong indicator that they're in the right place. They're going to be more likely to click on the product. Does that make sense? What else can you do in packaging? Can also have quantity sold. So it could have, instead of quantity sold, could have social proof. Quantity sold is a good one there. What else? And benefits or selling points. So just matches, use case, benefits can be apparent. Now, if you do this with this visual content, this first image, you're going to increase your click-through rate. The rest of your images, so for rest of content, you want to make sure one main thought benefit per image. That's really important. If you have too much stuff going on and it's very difficult to see everything going on, you're going to lose conversion rate. Okay, let's move to written content. Best practices around written content. I'm going to lead you guys off with very important. Now, written content for click-through rate is not that important, so I'm actually going to move this one down. Give me 1 second. This is going to go down to below conversion rate. Okay, let's go back over here. Let's go to design. Design of the product. We talked about this one a little bit. How would design impact your click-through rate and your conversion rate? I think comparison charts are against the rules now, but you've got to be super careful what you're comparing there because you're making claims against your competitors. Amazon doesn't like it. So for everyone that does not have access to the beta, Marlene just posted datadive.tools/beta. You can go to that website and fill out the form and you'll get it. Okay. So let's talk about design. How do we get design to increase click-through rate and conversion rate? Matches what people are searching for. That's exactly it. So it's different for different keywords, though. So this is really important. You're going to have 6, 8, or 10 potential avatars, and the way they search will determine what they're looking for. So if someone searches for a keyword plus pink, or plus for girls, or plus for mom, more likely they want a pink one, for example, right? So you need to make sure that your design that you have showing up matches for that keyword. So you have to be able to steer You have to be able to steer your hero for different keywords. So a lot of people don't understand that the hero that shows up when you have multiple variations can be designed or can be driven by you, right? So every single ASIN carries its own keyword ranks. I'll repeat that. Every single ASIN, so all of your variations, even if it's a variation or standalone product, every single one of them carries its own keyword ranks for every keyword. Now, whether you're indexed for that keyword is how you wrote your listing, the way that you launched it, all of those things. How relevant that keyword is to your product. But the one that shows up when you have multiple options is going to be the one that carries the most, is the rank the best for that keyword. So the one that's ranked the best for that keyword is going to be the one that shows up. But you could have your black one as number 12 and your pink one as number 16. What ends up happening is if you're running ads at the pink one for the main keyword, the pink one could get bumped up ahead of the black one. And now your pink one starts to show up on a big keyword, and then your sales drop significantly because the pink is less popular. You get less clicks. Your conversion rate might go up, but your overall sales go down. So you have to be very deliberate about what keywords you write into the listing for what variations. What variation is your hero? Never run out of stock for it. Which ads are you running? What keywords are you running ads for which variation is very, very important. You don't want your ads distributed and running to multiple variations. That's bad. You're distributing the impact of those ads on the ranking. Remember, we pull the lever of ads to push the organic ranks up. And if we're dividing up the effectiveness across multiple ASINs, then we're hurting ourselves. We're wasting money and we're wasting time, and we're potentially, it could be devastating if one of those less popular colors takes over. So you have to be very deliberate. So design is really important. So make sure to test this before you order the product. So simplicity that speaks to the consumer. Getting error with PPC audit, not eligible products found on the Amazon connection. Yeah, Nimra, if you don't have the connection for what you're tracking, then it wouldn't work. You have to be able to connect it. All right, is it okay to run ads for different variations against different keywords? Yes, of course. It's highly recommended. So the variation strategy that we're going to discuss later is exactly that. And Brooke's question is, so does that mean if you have multiple color variations, you should stop running ads to the lesser color variations, even if it means your product shows up in the color, in one color on the top of search and not? Yeah, so exactly, you can run ads to a less popular color, but it's highly recommend your ads are being run to the variation specific keywords, to the color specific keywords, for example. So what you're going to do, and the strategy that we're going to talk about, is that you're going to take that root word, and then you're going to run a broad campaign where it's the root word plus the variation specific keyword. So we're going to talk about mapping that. All right, not quite for design, but the product around the winning hero image after testing as opposed to making hero image. Yeah. So the design of the product meets the needs, matches what your typical buyer truly wants. Is not the same as other sellers, but adds value. Okay. So So price point. What are some ways that we can impact price point to impact click-through rate and conversion rate? Let's talk about a low launch point price. Coupons, strikeout. Sales, deals, all of these things are going to impact click-through rate and conversion rate around price point. And these are ways that you can help. So what I'm going to say here, make sure you test if you don't test your proposed price point before you even launch the product, you have a huge risk there. One of the most valuable lessons I've ever learned is that I designed a product that I wanted to sell for $85. Cost me over $25 landed. I think it was $25 or $40 landed per product. It was very expensive. And this is like one of the first years we were selling, so it was a big investment. And my product, I was trying to show up on keywords that were dominated by $15 listings, $10 listings, $12 listings, $20 listings. How do you think I did when I tried to rank and tried to run ads on keywords where my price point was 4 times higher than some of the best sellers? And my product was not a major brand, right? Like, I had a good branding, but it did not matter. How do you think it went? Terrible, right? So price point is something you need to know before you even order the product. What are people willing to pay? What are people willing to pay for your design of your product? And you can test that with audiences before you even launch. All right, we had price point already. Oh, reviews. Okay, for reviews, how do reviews impact So tell me about how we can improve our reviews and how reviews can impact your click-through rate and conversion rate. What can we do about it as well? So Nick, IntelliV is a great way to test price point. I think PickFu has another image as well. So IntelliV, PickFu, both good tools. They'll have a test where you actually put what the product looks like in the search results next to the best sellers. So you'll see your product and your best-selling competitors, and you can put your price point. So, yeah, participate in the Vine program. How about getting samples of your products and comparing it to your competitors? Addressing negatives from top sellers. I love that. So this is built into DataDive's AI product brief. If you use DataDive's AI product brief, you can look at maybe 10 competitors, the AI will go look at the reviews and the listing pages of those 10 competitors and come back and tell you what people liked, didn't like, and give you suggestions on how to make the product better. So quality product, good reviews plus Vine program. If listing is launched in other countries, can use for the same ASIN. Yep. That's a way people are actually taking advantage of the Vine program right now, is that they'll launch it in multiple countries, even if they don't intend on keeping it in that country. And then they're getting full Vine reviews in every country. So it's a little bit of a gray or black hat. I mean, right now Amazon's allowing it. Where it crosses into black hat is that if they don't intend on keeping it in that country, sometimes they're sending a nicer product to those countries and selling it at a lower price point than they intend, so that the perceived value is much higher. So they're putting it in a gift box, much nicer design, custom opening, and then selling it at lower price than they are planning. And what ends up happening is the Vine reviewers are more likely to leave a good review than if they had paid the regular full price and had gotten the regular packaging. Another major thing here is to always do inspections during and after production. Super important. I mean, if you've got the same factory that's making a bunch of 3.5-star products, but you found a way to fix it, maybe it's not the product issue, maybe it's the factory issue. You need to make sure that that fix that you put into place is actually being implemented, because you don't want a factory to do a bait and switch on you. So you need to make sure you're always doing inspections. So there's a direct correlation between review rating and your click-through rate and conversion rate. All right. So drivers of conversion rate are almost all of the others, plus reviews. We have reviews already. Delete. We have written content already. No, written content we did not have. Okay. So this is important. Your written content is going to be how you get your conversion rate. So what can you do in your written content to help increase conversion rate? Give me some examples, or what you guys think you should be writing in your listing in order to increase your conversion rate. And what are some mistakes potentially to avoid? Okay. Avoid stuffing keywords and bullets. Benefits to the buyer. You really have to understand who your typical buyer is, and you have to understand why they're buying that product. Here's a really big one. At the end of the day, almost every single person is shopping on Amazon and buying almost any product there is. They have a specific reason they're buying it. And if you don't know what that typical reason is, and you don't write it into the listing, most of the time they're just going to leave and go to a listing where it is specifically mentioned. So as mundane as you think it might be, or as obvious as you think it might be, if you don't write that feature, that benefit, that quantity, that size, the fit, the metrics, the thickness, whatever it is, the people looking for that specific thing are not going to buy your listing. They're going to move on to someone else. I like that. So yeah, I like that, Angelito. So write as if you're speaking to the parents in toys. So that's really good. So it's basically like write in the voice of your customer, right? Know who your customer is and write it in their voice. Okay. Pain points. This is specific to the written content that we just did. We just talked about this a little bit. So okay. If you don't answer this, again, they're going to bounce. So it's important to put it twice. This can be displayed should be. How about? So it should be displayed in visual content and written content. Okay. Now, placement. How does the placement of your ad or your product impact click-through rate and conversion rate? So, how would the placement of your ad, let's talk about ads first. How would the placement of your ad impact your conversion rate? Potentially, Bernie. Like, not always. Top of search has higher click-through rate. So product page is too bad. Low click-through rate, high impression. Not always, but so we're talking about top of search, rest of search, and product placement, right? Each will have a different NCVR. So what can you do about it? After getting data, decrease the bid and increase the multiplier to steer the ad towards the highest CVR. Split up campaigns by placement. You want to So, what do I mean by that? If I have top of search equals 24%, rest of search equals 12% or 16%, and product equals 12%, my bid is $1.50, what I can do, lower bid to 50 cents and add 300% multiplier to top of search, right? This would essentially give me the same bid for the top of search. And I might even do more, right? I can even do, but this is essentially the same thing. Do you think if I lower my bid to 50 cents, I'm still going to show up on rest of search or product pages? Probably not, right? If I was bidding $1.50. So whatever I need to achieve here, if my top of search percentage is lower, this would immediately raise it usually. But also, I'm going to steer it towards here and get rid of these lower blended conversion rates. So this is really important for you to understand is how to do this. And you can get your product, your ad placement report as well. I don't necessarily increase too much in the launch. But you can if you're not getting impressions. So I don't necessarily start off immediately with with that. Can we avoid top of search if we have 0 to 10 reviews only? No, you can, but I don't necessarily think I would. Sometimes something with 0 reviews will do well. Once you get 1 review, it's more obvious you have less reviews, right? But if you get a 5-star, it jumps to 5-star. If you've done your homework and developed the product and you've got good value, you start with a lower price, you have a coupon on, you have all these things going on, strikeout pricing, everything you need from launch, you can still convert from day 0. So, I would not wait. Okay. Let's jump back over to this. So these are your optimization data points. What we're trying to build with DataDive will be the first ads tool that takes into consideration what the entirety of the market can be, right? What are all those keywords your competitors are winning on? Because we have the best way of sorting that for you and helping you figure it out, finding the keywords that matter. But then combining that with an ad tool that looks at multiple data points that most other people don't look at. So really quickly, if you think about all the different things you can look at to decide whether you should be running an ad, it's going to be the cross-section of several of these data points. So conversion rate, click-through rate, the buyer intent and the relevancy of the keyword, your impression rank, and the organic rank. So there's more, but this is what we're looking at to begin with. And want to make sure that you understand what we're going to be doing. So if we've got a profit strategy and you run an audit, you're going to see that there are multiple buckets, insights buckets that we give you. Now, these insights buckets are going to be able to basically find all of your ads you're running. And if several data points are true, it's going to feed those keywords into these buckets. So for example, this first one here says opportunity to maximize profits. So you're not top impression rank, which means more of your competitors, there are competitors who are spending more money than you on this keyword. So your impression rank from an ads perspective basically is how many competitors are ahead of you as far as spend. Your organic rank is below the fold. So you're not ranked well, but your ACoS is good. So ACoS being good could be that you're spending very little and you're making an okay conversion rate, or per click. So your cost per click is low and you have a good conversion, an okay conversion rate, or you're spending a lot, but your conversion rate is still pretty good. So what I would say is that there are a couple things you can pull from this bucket. So let's talk about this bucket. All right, so let's look at a few of these scenarios here that we've got. So in this scenario, we had a good, let's see, what did it say? So our impression rank was not top. So not top 5, let's call it. And our organic rank was below the fold. So let's say not top 25. 30. Okay. Now there's going to be a second scenario I'm going to give you here in a second. So let me put 32. And then the ACoS was good. I'm not a big fan of ACoS, but let's say that the conversion was good. All right. Then I'm going to do the same scenario, and I'm going to do not top 5, not top 20. Now let's do the reason. Here's what you guys need to ask yourselves from here, right? And this is a little, let me go just a little bit smaller. I hope this is okay. So, am I indexed? No. Yes. All right. So I'm not indexed here. If I'm not in the top 32, I potentially have issues. So let's call it maybe not. We cannot move on to the next decision until we fix this one, right? So am I indexed? Maybe not. We need to go solve that, right? Remember, the answers are fix conversion, fix indexing, and then spend more or less money. So am I indexed? Yes. Okay. I need to answer this question now. What is the true relevancy of this product? So I'm going to write it here again. And I'm going to say hi. And I'm going to say hi. If you answer hi, or is it super relevant, then you can move on to the next section, which is, should I rank top 10? And what I can do here is, how about I do this? I come this way, and then I can add wrap. Okay. All right. What if I say no and yes? And then the question becomes, should I spend more money? The answer here is no. The answer here is yes. So here's the difference. I was not top 32. I cannot proceed with spending more money or optimizing until I've assessed whether my indexing is correct. The SOP is fix conversion, fix indexing, and then move on to spending money. So this one is indexed. It is relevant. I should rank in the top 10, meaning that the majority of the competitors in the top 10 are similar to my product. So therefore, I definitely should go spend more money on this keyword because I am not in the top 5 in impression rank. There's opportunity for me to spend money. Now, do you see how going down a decision tree of what could fit in this bucket is very different, right? So two different outcomes, two different situations, but the keyword showed up in the same bucket. So if I go look at what this bucket looks like, again, not top impression rank, organic rank below the fold, and a good ACoS. Below the fold just means not in the top 20, but is it 35? Is it 40? Or is it 20? Right? And What is the relevancy of this keyword? Should I be ranking higher? What if you're number 22, but you're the second best ranked of your subcategory on that keyword? You've done a great job, but the majority of the sellers, if you're number 22, there's one other seller like yours, the other 20 are not like your product. There might not be, you might be at the ceiling for that keyword. Spending more money is not going to help you move in ranks. Potentially. You can test it, but the reality is that might just be a keyword that you want to spend more money on just to get more profit. But you have to know what the impact would be on other keywords. So opportunity to maximize profit, good ACoS, maybe you can spend more money here because you're not top impression rank. But what is your ultimate goal? If it's is it for organic rank? You need to know realistically, am I going to be able to push that organic rank or not? So same bucket, two different outcomes. You can make a decision. You still have to be able to make a decision there. This one's opportunity to increase ad coverage. So not advertising in all match types and good conversion. Now this one, it means that you don't have a phrase, an exact campaign running targeting this keyword. It's not necessary to have all of those in there. So if you get some keywords in there, and let's say that your impression rank is in the top 1, 2, or 3, maybe you don't want to turn on a phrase campaign. Maybe you tested it before and it didn't do as well as the one you kept on, so you kind of backed it off, right? So just because it shows up here doesn't mean you need to go turn on all these different match types either. So you need to ask yourself, have I tested these other campaigns since I most recently changed my content? Is this going to help me with my impression rank? If I'm already impression rank 1 or 2, maybe I don't want to go turn on that phrase campaign. But what it's saying here is there's an opportunity for you to go test other match types. Sometimes the phrase does better than the exact. Sometimes the broad does better than the phrase, right? You're going to get more targets out of it. More keywords are going to be hit, but there's an opportunity here. So if a keyword falls in this bucket, it's just going to help you ask some questions around that keyword. So here's the checklist to ask yourself. Are you indexed? Are you in the top 35? I think I put 32, but let's see. Not top 30, 35. Is the keyword highly relevant for your product? So, and can I possibly rank any higher? Is my conversion rate supposed to be better or worse, right? So we're going to ask that in a second. But can you realistically rank in the top 10 of this keyword? You have to be honest with yourself. And is your conversion rate on the keyword above average? This is where you go look at the SQP data to answer that question. So what is the typical average conversion rate on this keyword? Now, what's going to drive? We already talked about what's going to drive conversion rates, right? It's going to be the specificity of the keyword. It's going to be the buyer intent on that keyword. As a matter of fact, I think we need to go back and make sure we added those. So is your conversion rate on that keyword above average? If it is, remember, we solved for conversion rate first. That's a clear sign that you have every opportunity to push ranks, right? Can you realistically rank in the top 10? This is going to depend on how specific this keyword is. So is the keyword highly relevant? What's the buyer intent of this keyword? Is someone just getting information? Are they browsing for a lot of different types of products? Are they looking for a different style, different design, different quantity, different pack, different whatever? Or are they looking for your product? Are they looking for what you're selling? And how likely are they to buy exactly what you're selling based on what they searched? If someone searches for pink diaper bag with cooler pocket and changing pad, and you're selling a pink diaper bag with changing pad and cooler pockets, and you show up and you've got all that in your main image and you wrote about it in your bullets and in your secondary images, you're very likely to get that click, right? You should be ranked in the top 10 of that keyword. That's highly, highly relevant. As highly relevant as you can get. So you need to be able to assess the buyer intent on each keyword. So if you answered yes to all of these, spend more money, right? But if you answered no to are you indexed, what can you do? You need to go check your subcategory to ensure that it's relevant for your product. This is where I like to start. I like to start and say, am I in the right subcategory? Sometimes your listing will get changed into a different subcategory and you'll see your ranks drop because Amazon will map your keywords or different keywords to different subcategories. And competitors who know that can go in and attack you by changing your subcategory. And then you struggle to rank for certain keywords. So always check your subcategory to make sure it's relevant and that your competitors who are ranked well for those keywords are in the same subcategory. The second is you need to consider rewriting some of your listing to add the exact phrase match of the keyword. So you get the most ranking juice credit for an exact match. So you got to look for patterns in similar roots. So let's say I've got 5, 6, 7 keywords that are all struggling and they all contain the, 3 to 5 because it's a toy for 3 to 5-year-olds. Well, it's this type of toy for ages 3 to 5. It's that type of toy for kids ages 3 to 5. It's for 3 to 5-year-olds, this type of toy. All these keywords have 3 to 5, right? Well, if I go to my listing and I didn't write 3 to 5 anywhere and near any of those keywords, I'm going to struggle to get indexed. So you need to know once you're tracking in Rank Radar, where am I struggling with my indexing, and are there any patterns amongst those words? Are there any specific repeated roots or root words or phrases that I'm missing? And then you can go write your listing. Now, if you answered no to is the keyword highly relevant? So you have to ask yourself, is your organic rank in line with your subcategory rank among similar competitors? So again, if you're number 3 and you're ranked number in your subcategory or bestseller rank for your similar competitors, and you're number 27, but you're the 3rd best on that search result, you might have hit your ceiling on that keyword, that generic keyword, and you might just have to be okay with it. But if you answered yes, maybe you're ranked correctly and cannot rank higher. So if no, expect a lower conversion rate and uphill battle. If that keyword is more generic keywords convert less and have a lower click-through rate. We already talked about that earlier. That's one of the drivers of click-through rate and conversion rate is the relevancy. So if I want to rank for generic keywords, I have to have a foundation of a ton of keywords that are highly relevant, that are converting well. I need to go really deep. And then I can afford to spend more money on some of these keywords and try to push the ranks. But if I'm struggling, even though I'm indexed, there might be just a ceiling for you and you have to accept it. Don't light a bunch of money on fire. So stay on top of that type of campaign and monitor the progress. So if you answered no to can you realistically rank in the top 10, again, check the subcategory rank, make sure you're ranked correctly. If no, expect a lower conversion rate and an uphill battle. If you answered no to is your conversion rate above average for your competitors, you need to go fix it, right? Explore reasons for the lower conversion rate. We talked about some of those drivers. Is it your main image? Is it your price point? Do you need a coupon? Do you need to run deals to increase your average conversion rate every month? What can you do to increase conversion rates? We already looked at it. But don't go spending money if your conversion rate is already lower and you're going to struggle to rank. You're not going to be able to push the organic ranks. You're only going to be impacting your ads. So is the spend on a lower conversion rate helping or hurting your organic ranks? You need to ask yourself that question. So it's converting worse than my competition, but maybe it's related to so many keywords, and maybe I'm breaking even, but it's pumping keywords, right? Maybe it's a higher A cost, but I'm not losing money on it, and it's helping keywords that are related with the extra credit. Then it might be worth spending some extra money there. But you have to know, how is it impacting your keyword ranks, and how do you fix your conversion rate? So what makes up buyer intent? One of the things you always have to ask yourself around a keyword is, what is someone looking for when they search for that phrase? Is my product in line with it? And how far along in the buyer intent curve is someone that searches that way? If I want information, I go to Google, right? So the best for X, what does this do? What should I be looking for? How to find the best X? Those are Google keywords. Most of the people searching on Amazon have a higher buyer intent, but not always. So you need to know this buyer intent is directly correlated with the conversion rate of the whole detail page, the whole search results. So how specific is the keyword and how relevant is the keyword to your product? Because buyer intent for your product is going to be different on a specific keyword than the buyer intent for a different product on the same keyword. So you need to understand it's relative, and yours can be the same keyword can mean that they want something else, right? If you have a plastic one and they're searching for steel or for metal, the buyer intent for that specific keyword is very high in general, but they want a steel one, right? So it can be specific, but it can still be lower buyer intent for your keyword. That's something to be aware of. So check the true relevancy. How many similar products are in the top 15 organic of that keyword? This is what we call the true relevancy. Now, we have a relevancy that we wrote into Data Dive that is a similar check to this. How many of those 15 competitors are on the first page? Like if you chose 15 of the best-selling competitors, how many of them are on the first page of each keyword? Logically speaking, the more similar competitors that are ranked well for a keyword, the higher relevancy it has. Very straightforward. Now, if you have different products, styles, material types, and price points, you have to look, right? Remember, even price point can be a differentiator on a keyword search term. If someone went and searched for leather toiletry bag, the price point that they're willing to pay is going to be higher than just searching for nylon toiletry bag or just toiletry bag. So you'll notice that the more specific they are, it'll dictate what they're willing to pay. And you need to be aware of that as well. And this is what it'll look like within your PPC audit. It's going to have a bunch of keywords. It'll talk to you about all of these different levers, and you need to know what to do with it. So, ranking strategy insights, we've got some more, but we're going to take a quick break